maybe millions and millions and millions of people in this country are fat for a reason. Maybe there's a reason. None of the fat people should have to justify their existence, but there are just so many factors in play with individuals' weights and health, and y'all minimize something that it cannot be minimized to.
Hello YouTube, and welcome to the Body Honesty Project. My name is Lydia, and today we will be talking about accountability, and more specifically, the ways that we avoid taking accountability. You see, this seems to be a very, very popular theme in the fat acceptance community, where they're almost allergic to accountability. But before we get into the TikTok, I think we need to learn a little bit more about accountability, and specifically the tactics that we use to avoid taking accountability. So why don't we watch this next clip, then come back and discuss. What is accountability? Accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable. What is being accountable? Being accountable is an adjective of a person, organization, or institution required or expected to justify actions or decisions. So why is taking accountability hard? Being accountable means that you take credit for when things go right, but also the blame for when things go wrong. Accountability is acknowledging your role in the outcome and knowing that what you do or don't do contributes to it. How do we avoid taking accountability? There are many ways we can avoid accountability, but here are the 5 major ones. If something can't possibly be our fault, we find something or someone to blame. We pick at minor details to support our argument. In every problem, there are usually factors other than the main factor that contribute to the solution. If you are responsible for the main part, you can reframe the problem so that the minor parts, the parts that we have little or no control over, are now more important. We claim that we are under attack. If we are the victim, any act that we do is justified. So the more that we cling to our victimhood, we can't ask to be accountable. We demonize our critics. We paint our attackers with the most vile brushes in order to defend our actions. We tout our credentials and motives. We make ourselves appear more superior, more educated, and more altruistic than we actually are. We hide behind certificates, qualifications, and causes so that we don't need to confront our own shortcomings. So, why should we be accountable? Being accountable makes you a more responsible person, the type of person others respect and trust. It promotes ownership of things and actions, lessens conflicts, and improves performance. When we are not accountable, we waste much time finger-pointing and fighting rather than working cooperatively and achieving. So we avoid accountability by delegating the responsibility to someone or something else, by picking at the minor details instead of the main problem, by playing victim and saying that we're under attack, and then by demonizing the attackers and making it seem like they only have malice in mind, while also touting our own credentials and motives in hopes to instill some sort of trust and confidence in our audience. So with all of that in mind, let's now jump into the TikTok.
Yeah, read this. What have we been saying? Y'all love to blame fat people for their weight and for their health and for all of the issues that come with being fat. When fat people have been saying for so long that an individual's weight is not just determined by what they eat. There are so many factors that go into people's weights, but it is so much easier to blame individuals than it is to take a look at the systemic issues that we have in this country and address those. Y'all will call fat people lazy and disgusting and blame us for every experience that we have instead of actually considering, hey, maybe millions and millions and millions of people in this country are fat for a reason. Maybe there's a reason. None of the fat people should have to justify their existence, but there are just so many factors in play with individuals' weights and health, and y'all minimize something that it cannot be minimized to.
So let's start at the beginning. FatFabFeminist seem to toss around the sentence, Y'all love to blame fat people. And that phrase dodges accountability in many different ways. The y'all blame part is delegation to something other than herself, demonizing who she's delegating to, and playing victim all in one sentence. Instead of seeing the situation for what it truly is, with the message you should take accountability for, she chooses to see it as y'all love to blame fat people for it. Then she goes through all the systemic reasons why a person can be fat, and according to her, it's due to more than just what they eat, which is false. It is 100% of what a person eats that dictates what their body looks like. Everything else is an influence. It always comes back to calories in versus calories out. All of it. Your genetics drive the hormones which drive how much you eat. The environment influences the choices you make to eat. Your economic situation might compromise the situation that you are in and limit the choices that you have of what to eat. But it always comes back to what you eat. Your weight is determined by what you eat and how much you move. Calories in and calories out. But instead, she'd rather pick at all the minor details and make it seem like the minor details are the major details, but they aren't. By no means does this mean that I don't think that we have other issues to fix. I do think change needs to come from the top down, but it does not negate the fact that your weight is still within your control. You are the one who consumes the calories, and you can decide what you consume and what you don't consume. It is far easier to avoid accountability by placing the responsibility on things that we have no control over, rather than assuming responsibility for things that we do have control over. She's also using credentials in the form of showing this article, but she's misrepresenting the article. The article is about the things that influence our choices in what we eat. It was talking about the contributions that external factors have on our choices, but by no means does it say that these are the reasons why people are gaining weight. These are the influences that cause people to make choices that cause them to gain weight. She then ended with the phrase that y'all want to minimize the issue. Well, I think that she wants to complicate the issue. If my car won't start because the gas tank is empty, what is the reason why it won't start? Well, obvious, it says because there's no gas in the car. But if I were to go down the fat acceptance rabbit hole, I could say that it's because of how far the gas station is from my house. Or it could be the cost of a barrel of oil. Or it could be the wars going on in other countries. Or it could be the construction of the North America pipeline. Now, those could all be the reasons why my car won't start. But in actuality, those are all just influences that could have been part of the reason why I did not put gas into my car. But the reason why the car won't start is because there is no gas in it. And omitting that major fact would not solve the problem if we solved everything else. If all the wars were over, and the price of gas was down, and the pipeline was constructed, but I still did not put gas in the car, it still wouldn't start. We are so afraid of taking accountability that we will reach to the stars for anything that will remove the accountability from us. So, in summary, FatFabFeminist demonizes y'all for blaming fat people for their weight, then delegates the issue to systemic problems, and then picks at all the influences rather than the root cause. All this to avoid taking personal accountability. This is not advocating for rights or fighting for equality. This is accountability dodging, and that is neither good nor honest. And on this channel, we're all about being honest. So until next time, stay body positive, but also body honest.